Welcome to Alternative Dog Moms Podcast. I'm Kimberly Gauthier, the creator of Keep the Tail Wagging. For the past 9 years, I've been blogging about raw feeding, pet wellness, and life as a crazy dog mom. I've seen massive improvements in my dog's health since I started raising my dogs naturally, and I'm passionate about sharing my experience to help other pet parents.
I'm Erin Scott. For the past 9 years, I've been researching and learning everything I can about healing cancer, allergies, autoimmune, and mystery illnesses in both my dogs and myself. And I can't wait to share with you everything I've learned on this journey. As the Alternative Dog Moms, we're bringing you all the latest dog health news that we're following and sharing the tips, tricks, and resources we learn along the way. Now, let's get started. Hello, Kimberly.
Hello, Erin. How's it going?
Oh, it's going. It's been an eventful couple days around here.
How are the pups?
So, well, the good news is Nessie and I are going to start a nosework class this Sunday.
Nice.
So I'm excited about that. I've never done anything like this before. I'm very anxious, but I'm excited because I think this is going to be good for her.
That's nice. How's Neno doing?
Oh, my boy. So Tim and I had a funny laugh over the weekend that I think you'll appreciate, especially anybody that gets the movie reference. But part of me wonders if Neno has been Kaiser Soseing me all these months. Because a funny chain of events happened over the weekend. So Tim and Neno were in bed first, and he was looking at his phone, and I was getting Nessie ready for bed and getting myself ready for bed. And I get in bed and I turn the main light on, and we have this little night light thing that was on. And as soon as I get into bed, Neno starts with his lip smacking, excessive swallowing kind of noises. And Tim's like, I've been laying in here for half an hour with him. He hasn't done it once. And you get into bed and he does it because a lot of times if I get worried about his tummy at night, I'll give him a Tums. And he thinks they're treats. And Tim's like, maybe he's just been messing with you all these months trying to get extra treats. And so, we definitely knew there was an acute problem going on with a gallbladder flare up last fall. But that part's, all signs of that have disappeared. I've still kept him on a relatively low fat diet since then. But we have been able to find no reason for this reflux. He's been on things over the counter. He's been on every slippery elm, gastro elm, every possible GI, natural or over-the-counter thing you can imagine. And none of it has really ever made any difference. And Tim's like, I think he's just been playing us all this time to get Tums for treats.
So did he get a treat?
That night I did not.
And he was fine. And he was fine.
Well, it's just a hit and miss. Anyway, so I was talking to my vet about that because I said, Neno is the dog with our old gals, and even with Penny, once they got comfy at night, they didn't want to go outside before bed for their last bathroom trip. So we would have to, entice them by giving them a treat when they came in. But Neno was like, oh shit, I get a treat. And he would just want to go in and out, in and out, in and out, and so he's smart like that. He might just be manipulating me. So, but then we had something on Monday that he could not have manipulated. And warning, if anybody's freaked out about poop talk, you're going to want to turn the volume down because I'm going to be a little gross here. But he took a poop, and it was I've seen when they have mucus, that coating where it almost looks like it's a sausage. I've never seen anything that looked like this. There was such a giant encasement of mucus, and it was very runny. And even after he finished, there was more kind of dripping going on,
wow.
and I had to get wipes involved. Like, I've never seen anything like this. So our first thought is, oh God, he's been eating all of these rabbit poops in the yard. Like, has he picked up Giardia? Has he picked up some kind of parasite from, we also get like fox poop and stuff like that occasionally, so I'm like, I text my dad, I'm like, I'm gonna bring a poop sample over, we got to do a fecal exam on him. And she's like, yeah, bring it over. And so this afternoon I was like thinking about it, and I like was just getting ready to text her, and she calls me and she's like, his poop's totally fine. And I'm like, really? She's like, but I looked at it, and she's like, and you're right, like, that's really strange. And she had never even quite seen anything quite like that before, but she said it reminded her of like a biofilm, and maybe from him just eating all this excessive rabbit poop, I don't know, maybe there's just something that like irritated his system, and his body was just trying to like flush it out or something. Like, it looked like, and all his poops since then have been back to normal. This hasn't been like a repeated thing.
Right.
But yeah, none of us had ever seen anything quite like that, but we're changing up his herbs again to see if we can get some improvement on that. So anyway, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster with the Neno and the pooping and the, is there anything wrong? I don't know. He might just be playing me. It's been a whole thing.
I can't say that my dogs play me, and I don't know if people can hear Zoe drinking as loudly as possible. I used to think it was only Rodrigo that drank very, very loudly. I think they all drink loudly. I just think Rodrigo drank really, like, he wanted us to know that I'm going for some water right now. Everybody, just so you know. But yeah, my dogs are smart. It's funny because I follow this person on Instagram. I'm going to see if I can find their page. And it's so funny. I'm hoping that when I mention this, people will be like, oh yeah, I know that page. It's called Levi the Husky Rescue. And the person behind the page does these things that I did to piss off my dog this week. And she just does these deadpan commentaries. And one of them is that, she put on, I don't remember what she calls them, but I think, I put on my outside feet and didn't take them for a walk. And it's funny because my dogs understand slippers, and they actually are even okay with tinny, like when I put on my tinny runners, they are like, is she doing something? But they're not sure. But I have a pair of rain boots, like short ankle rain boots, because I live in the Pacific Northwest. They are a must have. Well, actually, you live in a rainy place too. So
this year, certainly.
Today was like the past 2 days. It's like I'm waiting for Noah's Ark to come through because it's just sort of like, is this it? Because it's raining so hard. Thankfully, my plants are surviving. My dahlias aren't so happy. So I've been bringing in bouquets of dahlias as the rain pelts them down to the ground. So the house looks beautiful. So I have these shoes, and when I put those on, I love my dogs because they stand there and they stare at me, and all of them are at alert when I put these shoes on, because it's like, oh, we're going outside. Because I don't wear these shoes anywhere except for when I'm going to walk around the property with them. I don't take them when we go on walks because they're not really comfortable for long walks. For short walks, they're okay, but not for long walks. But it's so freaking funny. And so my dogs do pay attention to me, or, pay attention to like what I'm wearing and what I'm putting on. But another thing this page does is instead of bras, or like sports bras, she calls them lady harnesses.
That's great.
And so it's like, accurate. She did that in a video a couple days ago. In the comments, everyone was like, from now on, I'm only going to say lady harness, because it was she's just amazing. So freaking funny. And I love her page so much. So I just want to let people know I'm probably going to bring her up at least once a month for just randomly. It's not because she needs more followers or anything, just because she just makes me smile. But no, I don't. My dogs are like Bella takes up 2/3 of the bed. She's light enough that I can pick her up and shift her if I need to, but she's like, yeah, she's going to sleep right next to me. Apollo is, he loves to be brushed, but he's not very cooperative sometimes. So he'll just lay down into the brush. So I can basically, yesterday we did a big brush session, but it was only on one side of his body. And like right now he's still laying on that same side. So I have to wait until he flips over because I mean, I can start with him standing, but eventually he'll sit and then he lays down and then he just passes out into the brush. And I just have to hope that he lays politely. And Zoe is, going back to TV movies, Zoe is on this. I realize that my dogs feel that when I go into the kitchen, it's for them. So even though I feed them and they had a big meal, if I walk into the kitchen and start moving stuff around and doing stuff, Zoe comes and takes the position as if she's going to have second breakfast. Oh, look at you.
Nessie is being very demanding with her attention.
Yes. It's like, here I am. That's what Apollo does.
She makes the best faces. She has her like, yes, pet me now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just like, they are just so funny. I love dogs so much. So you sent me some studies and I am like so excited to talk about them. But before we talk about the studies, you got something in the mail today and now we can really go into it.
I did. I got my Forever Dog Life. Very anxiously awaiting it. I had to come home, rip it open. I was trying to eat dinner and not get crumbs all over it because it's such a beautiful book.
Isn't it pretty? Yeah. It's like the most beautiful book on the planet. So I thought, so I gave my thoughts, my initial thoughts last time, and I wrote a review. I thought it would be fun to flip through and just, because some of these recipes are a little ridiculous. This is no shade on Dr. Becker and Rodney. They're beautiful. Yeah. But I really part of me wants to try the recipes, but part of me, most of me knows that I never will, and what makes me want to try the recipes is just the picture.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I mean, it is so much like a human cookbook because I am someone who has bought a zillion cookbooks. There's beautifully photographed ones with recipes you're never going to make.
They never end up staying. There's no Post-its or paper clips or anything in them. I will not buy myself cookbooks anymore.
I like how they lay out kind of like all of the definitions and the tools that you need. That was, all that kind of stuff reminded me so much of so many of the human cookbooks that I have. And I appreciate that. And, a lot of the knowledge and stuff is super helpful, especially if this is stuff that is kind of new to you. I think, it's a great resource for that.
Yeah. I'm looking at one. It's the upgraded shepherd's pie with whitefish. It looks so pretty. And they have two pictures, one of it raw and one of it cooked. Mm. I mean, it looks so beautiful. And I want to try this. I think the beauty of it, well, I shouldn't say the beauty of it. This has nothing to do with them. I will try some of these recipes, but I doubt that I will use the ingredients as shown. I think I'll just be inspired by them.
Take inspiration. That's what it is.
Because I don't know about you, where you live, but in this recipe, this is on 222 for anyone who has the book. We do have ground lamb at our local grocery stores, but it's insanely expensive. Yeah. I can get it. If I buy a case of it, I can get it for a lot less. But yeah, it's insanely expensive. But another thing that I noticed is, okay, I'm trying to find, here's one right here. The amount of eggs some of these recipes call for are just like, good Lord. I mean, it goes to show how healthy, but 9 large eggs for a recipe that yields 6 pounds of food. It's like,
that's a lot of eggs.
It's a lot of eggs.
I will say, I'm somebody who's not super involved and adventurous in the kitchen for myself or my dogs, but they have some 3 ingredient treats. And in fact, Tim wants to know if I can make him the coconut macaroons.
See, I like the idea of the 3 ingredients treats.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see the rice stew because we're told so much, and again, for people listening along, this is on page 229. We're told so much about not feeding rice to dogs. And so I was surprised to see the cooked rice stew.
By the way, Kimberly, on page 162, they say, "Can I swap out ingredients? We don't recommend it."
And then that's when I become the rebel. It's like, watch me. But this is a Portuguese dish. And I think this might be a dish inspired by Bobby's family. Yeah. But yeah, it's just like, I mean, this looks Brazilian chicken.
There's a gumbo. Tim was very excited. He loves gumbo.
I mean, these dishes look delicious. I mean, basically some of these are basically something that, because there's nothing in here that's doggish.
Right.
So these are things if you cook it, these are basically, you can make you and your dog a meal. And that's sort of like how I'm going to treat it, is on holidays, on birthdays, on gotcha days. I want to be able to make something out of here and, and have some fun with it. But my goal I've set for myself, and I'm going to try super hard to stick to it, is to try a recipe a month until I'm finished.
Oh, that'll be like for 10 years.
Yeah, basically. And the reason why I say a recipe a month, because I think I can do that. I'm not going to hold myself to it, because I'm also that person that likes to say, I'm going to post like a blessing, or like for Thanksgiving, for the month of November, every day I'm going to post what I'm grateful for. And I usually make it to day 5. And usually
get distracted, or
what I usually do is make it to day 3 or 4. And then like on day 8, I catch up. Then I just give up. By day 10, I've forgotten that I was doing this. January 1, there was a guy years ago that had a website that I don't remember what it was called, but it was supposed to be like 365 things to be thankful for. And so every day he wrote an article of something that he was thankful for. And it was always like the things that, when you're reading it, it's like, oh, I know, like, cold sheets, like getting into bed with crisp cold sheets. And it's like, oh yes, I know. And it was just like, and it turned into, for a hot second, a million years ago, it turned into like a really popular website because people loved to see what he was going to post. Because of that, I've always wanted to do something similar, but just on social media. And so starting every year, people don't know this, but every year on January 1, that's what I want to do, is post something on a daily basis. I usually make it to January 3rd. So that's why I'm going to try, but please no one hold me to it. But the month of June, I'm just going to open the book randomly and pick a recipe, and I'm going to make it. And there you go.
One of the things I was excited about, like, there's some pill pocket ideas. Mm-hmm. And I said to Tim, oh my goodness, I wish we had Kahlua here, because she was like our sneaky ninja, like that would find any kind of pill and, be like, pa-choom, and like spit it across the room, And I was like, oh, I want to try some of these out, because they were pretty good ideas and pretty simple to make. And the other, like, just because some of the treat ones, like they have some meatball kind of treats, mm-hmm. like detox meatballs and microbiome morsels. And I was kind of like, all right, that's like my kind of speed. And I like the idea of functional treats, like of giving something that's not just, like a treat, but like is beneficial. Like I like that idea.
Yeah, it's a beautiful book. It really is. It's a beautiful book. So
I think my other favorite thing too is like kind of like the recipes for the home about like mm-hmm. cleaning, because I always want to make my own cleaners, and I have a bunch of these like, spray bottles that I've bought, and and Tim like is annoyed and like shoves them in a closet somewhere, and I'm like, I'm going to use them. And then I don't. And, so I like having all these like recipes and, all kinds of different cleaners, glass cleaners, laundry detergent, carpet cleaners, even things like toothpaste and dog shampoos and different things like that. Even like how to make your own pet wipes and like that kind of stuff is really exciting to me. And that's definitely something that I could see myself doing.
So I think it's an exciting book. I mean, I really think it's
I worry that some of those food recipes would be overwhelming for somebody who's like new to all this, and it's like, oh yeah, I've been
the
wanting
ones
to
with
do this.
27 recipes.
Yeah,
27
ingredients.
Because here's beef and chicken surf and turf. Let's count the ingredients. 1, 2, 3. I like you said, I love how they put, the benefits, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 ingredients. That's not too bad, I guess. But for me, I'm used to doing I do meat, organ meat, bone, which in my world usually comes all in one blend. The most of that is like either one ingredient with all three or two ingredients, whereas meat and bone, but then I add in some more organ meat. And then I add in canned oysters and Dr. Harvey's raw vibrants. So I guess if I took Dr. Harvey's and broke it down by ingredient, my recipes would be insane.
Yeah. I mean, that's the benefit of buying something like that, right? Yeah. Oh, there's a celebration cake. I could totally do that.
What page?
That is on page 94.
I love that they did treats first rather than food.
Well, it reminds me of those human cookbooks where they give you like the appetizers and the soups and all that before you get into the main courses. Oh.
Yeah, I love that they did a frosting around the cake. This is really, I can do this. I can do the celebration.
That's what I thought. I
can do that.
I can do that.
I can do that. Maybe I'll start with that one. But yeah, so it's a beautiful book. I saw someone comment that they wish that it was in paperback, and I was tempted to ask them why. I didn't understand. I mean, maybe they just prefer the feel of a paperback.
I mean, it will be in a year.
Yeah, but I was just like, I kind of like the hard. I like that there's not a cover, like the loose cover that comes off of it eventually. I mean, I think it's really beautiful. So I think they did a good job. So I'm happy, but I am waiting for the critics who, I mean, you can always appreciate the pettiness of the people who absolutely despise these two. And so I will be quietly stalking the Skept Vets website to see if he post a review of the book. As he was not a fan of the first book, although a lot of his arguments were like, subjective.
Yeah, absolutely subjective.
That's fine, but okay. So I found a study as well.
Oh,
so it's a study from 2022. It's from France. I was doing something. I was playing around with AI, and AI, because I asked AI what percentage of dog owners feed raw, and I don't remember if AI told me, but AI did reference a study. And when you're playing around with AI actually will not always give you a link to the study, but sometimes the Google AI will have links to things like 2 or 3 things below it. And so one of them was the study was one of them the study that would reference. I actually feel like maybe if you scroll down a little bit, the study did come up within the results. So it's a French study, and it was just an online survey? Yeah, it was an online survey. I think it was 400 and something people. Let me look. I actually did a graphic. 429 dog owners participated. And they found that 38% of them fed a fresh food diet.
Wow.
So yeah, I know. And I know that,
France.
Yeah, basically Europe seems to be a little ahead of us when it comes to eating healthier. They don't have as much sugar in their food. It's funny because it's like people but they eat pasta and they eat all that. And it's like,
but it's different. Yeah, it's different. It's made very differently.
And it's like, yeah, they don't put sugar in every single thing.
And the pasta is made fresh and with actual quality ingredients, not the processed nonsense that we eat. Like I knew somebody who just came back from Italy, and they were like walking through our grocery stores here. Like, this is garbage. This is all garbage. Like,
I mean, it's just, I feel like similar to Bobby, where he basically ate what the family ate. And I feel like a lot of people there. So I don't think we can take that 38% and go, hey guys, it's no longer 5%. It's 38%. But I would be curious. I'm sure someone has to do a survey. I know they have the obesity survey that they do every year. And I wonder, I'm pretty sure part of that obesity survey is, what do you feed your dogs? And so it would be curious to see, like, in the US, maybe I'll try it again. How many American dog owners feed and just get homemade dog food? Oh, it's like a general prevalence for North America is in the range of 7 to 10% of dog owners and 4 to 5% of cat owners feeding homemade dog foods. And I'm gathering that it got this number from this article of the Michigan Veterinary Medical Association. And it was Dr. Sarah Abood of Sit, Stay, Speak Nutrition. So, okay, well, there you go. That was easier than I expected. So, and I'm fascinated by the study that you sent me about spay and neuter as it relates to joints and cancer, because, we rescue and we work in rescue. So most of the time dogs are going to be spayed and neutered at an earlier stage. What I appreciated about the study is that it wasn't definitive. It wasn't like, it admitted, and then there are dogs that just won't have anything happen. So
yeah, I'll make sure we have a link. It talks about associated joint disorders, cancers, and urinary incontinence on different breeds of dogs. And I like how they broke it down and gave you this chart of which dog breeds and male or female, and should they be fixed no earlier than 6 months, no earlier than 12 months, no earlier than 24 months, and in a couple instances, not at all. Mm-hmm. And like, for instance, it said that all male Dobermans should just be left intact because the risk of health issues. Yeah. And all female Golden Retrievers should be left intact due to all of the health issues. And, even though they don't include any kind of like bulldog or pit bull or anything like that on this list, I think it's like 40 different breeds. Like my girl Kahlua, she blew both CCLs and she had mast cell cancer. And both of those, situations are mentioned in the study. But like all of my dogs, I'm pretty sure Penny had some sort of cancer of either the bladder or something in the urinary system. And we just never actually found it, Mm-hmm. And this even talks about, issues with the urinary system. And like Kahlua was probably a little older when she was spayed. She was probably 3 or 4. Like, I don't know how old she was because literally somebody that my dad knew found her. And I don't know how old she was, but we took her to be spayed thinking we were doing the right responsible thing. And it turned out that she was going into heat. And then it was like this whole extra thing. And I remember, Tim and I remember her being kind of crazy for a while. Like, and by a while, I mean like 2 years afterwards. And she used to urinate all over. Like, you'd put her out in the yard for 2 hours and she'd come in and pee on the floor, and you were just like, what is going on? So now I just wonder how we thought we were doing the right thing. And maybe it would have been better for us to have left her intact. I wonder about these things sometimes. And here, how many people do you know in rescue, right? Like they're taking in all these dogs, and then their dog has horrible allergies, and now they got CCL surgery, and they're doing all these things, and you're just like, oh my God. And it's like, here we are thinking we're doing the responsible thing by spaying and neutering them, just to turn around and spend the next 5 to 10 years paying for all these health issues that were probably caused by the spaying and neutering. And it's just so frustrating to know that there are alternative procedures out there, the ovary-sparing spays, the vasectomies that aren't being taught to our vets, and that shelters and rescues aren't embracing.
And I think that's the one thing that I think dog owners should recognize, because people feel so guilty, especially, people who lost a dog. Oh my gosh, where's my camera? I love it when Apollo lays on pillows because he gets so comfortable, and I take a picture every time because I think he's so cute when he's just laying on a pillow. Hi, sweetie. And how my voice changes into, oh my gosh, you're just such a sweet, that's just ridiculous. But anyway, people feel so guilty. But what you said is so true that no, it's not like you should have gotten an ovary sparing spay. There are no veterinarians that are, this is not something that's commonly taught. So,
yeah, it's difficult to find and it's more expensive.
Yeah. So it's just like, we're all doing the best that we can. And when I was reading that, I was just kind of, one, grateful just for being a part of a community that talks about all these other things that you can do. So this is why, functional mushrooms are a part of my dog's diet. This is why I focus on digestive health and, and feeding fresh food. This is why my dogs are exercised. And, I try to create a low stress environment for my dogs. Because, although these things, when it comes to early spay and neuter, I mean, Bella, she was spayed before I got her, and I got her at about 4 months old. Zoe was spayed around 7 months old. Apollo was spayed before I got him, and he was 7 months old, I think, when I got him. So I think he was probably spayed around 5 months old, maybe 5 or 6 months old, which I think, according to the chart, is pretty okay for a male husky. Not great for his golden retriever side, but I think it was Siberian Husky for the male.
It does say.
Yeah, no earlier than 6 months. So yeah, he was earlier than 6 months, but not much. So yeah, I mean, it's just sort of like we do the best that we can, because I know that I'll continue adopting dogs simply because it's kind of, I got a whole little, freeway of dogs that I have access to being on the board of directors.
And I mean, I don't know, it's in my heart to always want to give a home to a dog that needs a home,
I love the idea. Well, here's another story. There's a guy on Instagram that went to Costa Rica recently with his wife, and they saw a dog there and they brought her home. They saw a dog and she was really sweet. She was surviving based on kelp and something is what she was eating, super skinny, but she sort of followed them around and stuff. And so they thought about it. And before they left, they decided, we're taking her with us. So they went, and we followed the story of this. It was just such a sweet story. And it's this big, muscular guy from the East Coast. And so he has this, you would love him. And so when I find him, I'm going to tag you in his things because you will love it. He has a bully, and he's like, he has this, it's a boy dog that he absolutely loves. And he's always talking about, takes these videos with his boy and just how much he loves his boy. Like he took a video once where he's in traffic, and it was just sort of like, I'm just trying to get home to my dog and I'm stuck in traffic. And I just, he's like,
I know that feeling.
Yeah. And he just can't wait to get home because he's going to, how his dog is going to react to seeing him. And he's just like, he basically says all the stuff that we all think on a daily basis. So I just absolutely love his following him. So they go back and they look, I'm like scrolling as I'm talking. They go back and they start looking along the beach and stuff where they saw this puppy, and they find her. And so they're like, oh, you remember us? They named her Cece. So maybe I can search Cece because I do know that. I feel like a stalker. So they worked with what's it called? Like a transport company. So, took her to the vet. She was diagnosed with heartworm, but luckily it was like maybe I guess stage 1 if it's done in stages. And they got her taken care of, and they got her on the transport. And it was so nice because they were like, they did a video. They're so excited because they're going to go see her and pick her up. And, I think it took about a week for them to get her. and they have balloons and all this stuff to, when they're going to go meet her. And when they go and meet her, she remembers them. And so she's excited. And, of course, his followers, because he has a big page, are concerned. Hooch, that's what the dog's name. I'm such a stalker. I think his dog is named. Yep, there we go. Found it. Eddie and Hooch. I can't believe I'm such a stalker. So everyone's worried. It's like, well, what if Hooch doesn't like Cece? And is it going to be okay? Is Hooch going to be, you can't leave Hooch behind. You got to love him too. Are they going to get along? Is everything okay? And so he's now just been giving us updates every, I don't know how often, just to see how they're doing. And when his thing comes through, I stop what I'm doing, turn the volume up, and I look to see how are they doing? Is everything okay? And the first night she was curled up on the bed, and it was just like, and it just feels so good because this dog, a few weeks ago was eating
savaging.
Yeah. And now she's like, and she loves Eddie. So, he's like, Hooch sits next to him while he's watching sports, but he'll turn the camera and Cece's like on him, like she's glued to his side, and she's just like, oh, it's so cute. And I think the first night he went and got pizza, and they have this thing called pizza. I don't know what day it is, but it's like Pizza Crust Thursdays or something like that, where Hooch gets the pizza crust. And so she was there, and he was like, she and his wife went out to dinner. So he's like, but we didn't forget. And they went and got a pizza to bring home. And I mean, he's like, I just love it. And so he brings home. And so this is Cece's first pizza, anything. And she was just like, what is this magical thing? And up on the table, pulling her paw, pulling the pizza towards her. And he's like, okay, so I'm not going to allow her to behave this way, but look at how sweet she is. I am just loving it. So basically, that is why I rescue.
Yeah.
That is why I rescue, because and there's no shade. I have no problem with reputable breeders. I really don't. There's so many dogs out there. And if I can find a good blend in my house, like that's why I have 3 dogs, and I'll probably stay with 3 dogs. The only way I would get a 4th dog is if by chance my 3 happen to know the 4th and do really well with them in group situations. And then I would slowly integrate. But I think with the 3 dogs I have, everyone gets along so very well. They do really good. Apollo did not appreciate Bella trying to jump on his head while he was taking a leak today, but he was pretty patient with her. But, but anyway, long story short, that is why I rescue. Stories like that.
I mean, Kalua, a friend of my dad's, or an acquaintance of my dad, literally found her in an alley. And Penny, I literally found her in an alley. And I found her in like the heat of August. And you're like, where was she sleeping? Where was she getting out of the sun? And I think about that in winter when we're having these crazy storms or these crazy winds, that there's dogs out there that are like trying to hide behind dumpsters or under sheds and try to get out of the elements. Or what do they do when it rains? Like, I don't know, my mind, like, because I used to do all this TNR work with my girlfriend, and it's like I've literally seen these vacant houses where all these cats are living and huddling together, and and my mind just goes to all of that, like that I've seen these neighborhoods where these pets are living, and I'm like, if I have an open bed, if I have an open spot, I want to give a dog a home that needs a home. And I'm not somebody who's like going to be showing my dog at the Westminster show or something that I need some purebred blah blah blah.
I mean, it's just sort of like I think that one of my favorite breeds is a golden retriever. I have resigned myself to the fact that I will never have a golden retriever, because I will not get one unless I get one from a line of raw reared dogs. I won't do it.
The health issues.
Yeah. I just won't do it. So and I accept that. So that is my exception, that, if I had an opportunity, same thing, but like it's sort of like to me with, a husky or a Malinois, my dream breeds that I am completely not the right person for. I don't have the personality for it. I'm lucky to I have my golden husky dream dog laying on pillows, and he is absolutely perfection. But that's as close as I'll get to having those breeds.
Well, as I learn more, like the idea of being able to make these types of health decisions for my dog, like I can understand from that kind of perspective why somebody would want to get a dog from a reputable breeder, a naturally reared line. And and if people are getting dogs that they're using for the purpose that the dog was bred for, like I totally get that kind of thing too. And like you said, I have no shade to people who are being responsible and have these types of reasons for what drives me crazy, especially where we live so close to Amish country, is the people that are getting like these farm dogs, quote unquote, that are just like backyard breeding, at best case scenario, backyard breeding, worst case scenario, some kind of puppy mill type situation that's being dressed up, in some manner. But
well, I know, because it's funny, because when I was a kid, that's how you got a dog, is someone down the road's dog got out and they came back pregnant, and now they have puppies. And so everybody showed up to grab a puppy. And that was just the way things were. I mean, but this is the 70s. I mean, we've learned so much since then. I think basically the dogs that I have in this house are pretty much the same thing. Well, one is an accidental litter. Zoe is an accidental. I actually believe that she was an accidental litter. I believe that there's a 95% chance that she was from an accidental litter. Apollo was full on bred. Because I believe it's because the people, not necessarily the people that my son-in-law, my stepson. Thank you. It's like that feels wrong. Thank you. My stepson got him from. I don't know if it was specifically their desire, but I think that the idea of the quote unquote Goberian, which is Siberian Husky Golden Retriever blend, came from people not being able to handle the Huskies during the Game of Thrones phase. And so they blended it with the friendliest, happiest dog on the planet. And boom, I got Apollo, a Husky and a Golden Retriever in one dog. And that's a lot, 80 pounds. That's a lot of dog.
That's a lot of dog.
And he's so much dog that I've already arranged what can happen to him if something happens to me.
Oh, wow.
Like, Johan does not get to keep Apollo. I actually know I actually do. I have it all arranged simply because he is so much dog, and he has to have someone who can manage him. It's not that he's a bad dog or, or anything. He's just a lot of dog. And it has to go to someone who loves that about him. And his dog walker, Steven, loves him. I mean, the two of them are the best of friends. And so Steven will take him. If something happens to me, Steven comes to get Apollo. And then I told him he has to take Bella too. But Bella was someone trying to profit off of the pandemic with the pandemic puppies. So it's just like, she was backyard bred as well, explaining her anxiety and stuff. Speaking of anxiety, and I know I just totally took a complete right turn and then a U-turn and then I hit somebody. My friend Destiny shared something on Facebook about a calming supplement.
Oh, I wonder if it's the same one that I've been using.
It's out of Canada.
Oh.
And it's called Seronin Vet Calming.
Oh, okay. I'm using something called Soliquin.
Ooh. So I want to know more about this, but I'm going to share something that she wrote today or yesterday. And she's like, it's been 48 days since Gypsy started her new supplement, Seronin Vet Calming. At first, I wasn't really sure if I noticed a difference yet. But the other day we took her to a PetSmart. She normally shakes, pants heavily, whines, etc. We went through the whole store, saw 3 dogs, one of which was out of control, and Gypsy stayed in a heel, sat when I stopped to look at products. And when we were in one aisle for a while. She laid down on her own. This is mind-blowing behavior for her. We have tried every natural product on the market over 10 years. This one is the real deal and works. By the same makers of OcuGlow, which this is that was for eye health, which has kept her vision for 7.5 years. I trust their products and formulations completely. And I'll actually email that to you as well, so we can put it in the show notes. So warning though, it is an expensive product and it's out of Canada. So for those of us in the US, the shipping is insane. So I bought a bottle. It's 19% off right now with this code. And then shipping was $20. So the bottle was like $45 plus it knocked down to 30 something dollars. And then shipping was $20, $22. So did I buy 2 bottles? I might've bought 2 bottles because I just want to try it for Bella, because Bella is, and that's why I changed subjects so abruptly, because Bella, I believe because she comes from a backyard breeder, she has that level of anxiety. The entire litter does, just at varying levels, but they all have some anxiety. And I connect it with someone who has one of the dogs from the litter, like a year older than Bella. Same thing, just really scared of everything.
So these dogs should not have been bred, continue to have been bred. No. If they were a responsible breeder.
No. And the only reason why we got a hold of these dogs is because no one was getting puppies anymore. So they had, I guess did one litter and made a bunch of money. I say that, I shouldn't say that. So, judgmentally, because I am being judgmental, but they made their money and they started a new litter, but they couldn't get rid of the puppies. So we ended up getting them older, and we have no idea. I have no idea what her situation was before we came to her. I mean, if you look at her now, she's perfectly fine. She's happy and stuff, but she's one of those where she gets really nervous very easily. Just, it's easy to wind her up. She doesn't do the piddle thing so much, but she does sometimes, from time to time. But I'm really curious to know if this supplement is something that I can give to her that will make it so that I can walk her on the Centennial Trail. And so
I have been using one that's called Soliquin. Mm-hmm. It's made by the Nutramax company that makes the glucosamine supplement, like Cosequin. And my vet had recommended this, and I think you can get Soliquin right off of Amazon. And I think I had told you all how Neno was getting really stressed when we first brought Nessie home. And at one point he was obsessively and compulsively eating tissues to the point where he was knocking over trash cans and knocking my clothes off the, dresser so that he could eat the tissues out of the pockets and things like that. And then he was also at one point digging at his tail a lot. And when we started the Soliquin, I mean, it doesn't start the minute you start taking it, but it has the compound in it called L-theanine. And I would say probably within 2 weeks of us starting it, he doesn't do any of that anymore. He stopped chewing at his tail. He stopped compulsively eating tissues. And I call them his super secret Neno treats. And I hide them in a different part of the kitchen. He knows when he gets them. But our vet actually suggested that we start it with Nessie too, and see if it helps with any of her resource guarding behaviors. That if that's something that's coming from a stress kind of response, that, perhaps it might help take the edge off some of her resource guarding of the living room.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of interesting, but, going back to that study about the spay and neuter, there's the supplements that we can do, the fresh food diet. I also, because of it, not because of the study, but because of what we know about spay and neuter. And I know there are people out there that disagree that there is a correlation. I happen to think that there is. And my thing is, what I'm doing isn't going to harm them. So why not? So I started Bella off on a joint supplement as a puppy, rather than waiting until she becomes a senior, just to give her that extra support because of the risk. And it's so hard because when you look at these lists of the breeds and what to do, and for me, Bella I mean, she's a mixture of, I don't know, 6 breeds, but the 3 main breeds are Heeler, Husky, and German Shepherd. I don't know what I'm supposed to focus on. And
Right.
I know it's not, the list isn't meant to be used that way. It's sort of like just to give you an idea. But, doing something like making sure that I am supporting her joint health so that that she can maybe, and making sure to reduce any inflammation in their system so that, because in fact, I just updated an article that I wrote about inflammation and how to keep it under control. But
I was watching Nessie run around the yard with Tim the other night like a maniac and doing zoomies everywhere. And I was thinking to myself, yeah, I'm going to start doing some intermittent joint support with her because last thing I want is her cutting a corner and, blowing an ACL.
That's how it happens. I mean, that's what happened to Sydney.
That's what happened to Kahlua.
We heard her yelp.
Yep.
And she was never the same.
Yep.
I mean, it's just like, so there's another study you sent me about lactoferrin and found in bovine colostrum and how it's great in killing off candida. I love that, not just for dogs, but for humans. I mean, the study was on humans, but for humans as well, because candida, there was a time when candida was, I won't say it was in the news, but it was very much a part of, like, I was researching all these things and it kept coming up of candida overgrowth.
Yeah.
And people were talking about, all these symptoms that are in the body and how it can be directly related to candida overgrowth. So if you have itchy skin, or if, there's certain, certain issues that you have in your system that, I've just completely lost track of thinking. I was trying to think of there's not a veterinarian, but a doctor who has a channel, and I honestly cannot remember his name at all. I can't remember his name, but he is a big fan of keto diets, and I've learned a lot from him, but it was just like a really big thing. So when you sent me that, it was just like, oh, I know what candida is, and I know that it's bad. And that the American diet, because it's so high in sugar, we're constantly feeding the yeast in our system.
And I think of dogs, being fed kibble, and you hear of SIBO, the small intestine bacterial overgrowth. And I think it's Kay Stewart who talked about, she thinks that she had a dog years ago that had like an extreme case of that, and they could never quite figure out what was wrong. But yeah, I love colostrum. I have this product that I use with both Neno and Nessie. They both get this their nighttime treat is basically like some colostrum and goat milk, and Nessie gets her adrenal supportive herbs with hers, and Neno gets his gastro elm pudding with his. And
so do you mix the colostrum with the goat's milk?
Well, it's the one I get regularly is like a powdered.
Yeah.
It's like a powdered one.
And so you just put water in it?
I put goat milk in it.
Oh, okay, cool. Because I didn't know I could do that. I was worried that if I mixed them too, like it would be like if I one time made the mistake of sitting down and snacking on pumpkin seeds and ended up going through half a bag of pumpkin seeds. They were delicious, but the pain I was in.
The tummy.
Yeah, my tummy was just like, it cramped. It felt like my tummy detached from whatever it's attached to, twist it into circles.
Oh my God.
And just punish me, like, don't ever do that again. And that's all it was. It was just like really intense stomach cramping. And ever since then, I've just been afraid, because I use the colostrum from Earth Buddy Pet. I really like their product. And so I would love to do similar to what you're doing, like a nice evening treat that, because that's easy to do. I have plenty of goat's milk. So that would be fun.
Yeah, they both love it. And Neno will tell you if it's time.
I just love that about dogs. I love how demanding they are. I love the people who have dogs that are just like, they'll, see a video where my dog went to bed and then came back out and was just like, I said it's night time.
That's Neno lately, yeah. And we were laughing because he used to be the guy that like the minute you stirred in bed, he was like, are we getting up? And he'd be like running to the door, and he'd be like jumping on the bed, jumping off the bed, jumping on the bed, jumping off, like, get up, get up, get up. And now he's the one that's like in bed first and out of bed last. And I have to cover his eyes with the comforter and I turn the light on, or else he gets all like, you're killing me, you know?
Oh my God. Okay, so you saying that, two things. There's a trend right now going around where people are showing like a video of their dog where they're like, I made the mistake of shifting 2 centimeters and now my dog is like, are you awake? and the other one, there was a video of a Doberman Pinscher where and it just says on it, I had the nerve to walk into the room and turn on the light. And the dog is sitting up and just looks pissed off. Just like, and it's just so funny. Because it's just like, or another one that I love is, this person posted something like, my dog sighs like his day is so hard and he's just putting up with so much. And just, and I don't have some. My dogs don't sigh, but my dogs do. Gosh, they have a good life. Oh, is your neck clean now?
Nessie's saying hi. She spent most of this time under the desk and licking the bottom of the floor in the desk.
I got new furniture covers for the living room. We live in a house that's way too big because we bought it for the property. So, and because Johan and I don't consume the same type of media, about 80% of the time we don't consume the same type of media. So the living room is my space. The family room is his space. And so I bought new furniture for in here a few years ago and I love it, except for I wish I would have gotten different color sofas, but that's not the thing. But I got new covers. I used to put blankets on them, but what sucks is that even though you tuck them in and everything, the blankets eventually with the dogs jumping on and off, they just eventually end up looking messy. And even though no one comes to our house except for dog people, so no one cares, it still bothers me.
We use blankets, and Tim is like super anal about making sure they're all like tucked in and even and lined up. And I'm just like,
thank Tim for me because I feel that. So I got these new covers, and the reason why I got them is because it's a full cover, and you just sit them on the sofas, and it's not one of those type of covers that has you tuck in and put all around and stuff. I don't know why, but I just don't like those. But it has like a seat belt to hold it all the way around the top part around the back of the sofa. And then it has armrest parts and it's just really, and they were super inexpensive. I think like less than $20 for a sofa and each for a sofa and love seat. You just have to measure it out. They have tons of different types and brands selling these on Amazon right now.
We have like an odd sized sectional that has like a chase part to it. Mm-hmm. So it's difficult to like ever find anything that.
Do the cushions come up?
No.
See, we have the same thing. And I've seen them, not these, but different ones that are great for sectionals. But every single thing I see, they're pulling the cushions up. And I'm like, where are these sectionals where the cushions come up? Because that's not what we have. So instead we need to get a new sectional. Our sectional is 13 years old. It's time for it. It's not comfortable.
Yeah, I think we got ours in 2007. So however long that is.
Oh gosh, you've had yours longer. I used to be able to sleep on mine. I used to sleep on it with Sydney, and I cannot sleep on it anymore. It hurts. I wake up in a tremendous amount of pain, and so it's time. And so a friend of mine works at Costco. So she tells me when the new stuff is, she's like, oh, the furniture comes in the summer, and she's like, it should be coming pretty soon. So I'm going to go and start walking around and looking. And we have one of those little furniture stores where you get it for good prices. So I'm going to go there. But these covers, this is day 2. They stay on, they stay looking nice, and I love them. I bring that up only because you said, Nessie is licking the bottom of the desk. Bella licks the covers. And so now I'm trying to get like, please stop licking the covers. Please stop licking the covers. So far, I think I've been able to get her to like, here's one of your dinosaurs. Lick your dinosaur. Don't lick the cover.
Yeah, our old gal Kahlua, she was a sofa licker.
Yes.
She would just lick, and it would just be this giant spot on
Yes.
the sofa. And if we ever had a pet sitter come, we would tell them, like, if you see a wet spot on the sofa, it's from Kahlua licking it. And they would always be like, oh, we think Kahlua had an accident on the sofa. And I'm like, no, she just licks it for like 5 hours because it feels really good on her tongue.
Yes. I don't understand it, but that is what they do.
So that's when we started using the blankets, and I'm like, at least I can wash these and I can buy new ones. And
yeah, I got these because we have, I don't know, well, you can't see it, but right here, there, this is the blanket.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Because we have blankets full of blankets, yeah.
But yeah, so I have, whenever Costco has nice blankets, I buy a couple, and I ended up with a gazillion of them. But the problem is washing the blankets. It's like an all day thing. Yes. And in the summertime, I put them out and they can dry outside. And the rest of the year, which, I mean, you understand our weather, is basically 9 months of the year, I'm doing this whole laundry thing. And it's just like, it has, like, the blankets have to really be cleaned because you have dogs laying on them, and it's just, with the dog hair. And I think Johan, he's not allergic to the dogs, but if we don't keep the house swept and keep those blankets, in a good rotation, he starts getting like allergy symptoms from all the dog hair. So yeah, it's so hard being a dog mom. So hard.
I know. I think dog laundry is on my agenda for this weekend.
It's on mine every weekend.
I mean, I'm doing towels constantly. I'm just constantly, like, every, 5 days, like, just washing more towels. Like,
yeah. Yep. I mean, I actually went to the store and just bought a bunch of clearance towels, and I went to like a used store and got a bunch of towels, like I think Goodwill or some other secondhand store, and just got a bunch of towels. And so the dogs have plenty of towels. And actually the ones that I got at the store, they were like $1 each. I feel like it was a mistake. So I bought them all. And that was years ago. I still have all the towels. They all look really good. So probably because, well, naturally, I was going to say probably because I only use them on the dogs, but no, I wash them like crazy. I don't wash my own towels as much as I wash their towels.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, it's insane. So, well, it's been lovely talking to you.
Yes, always a pleasure.
Do you think you'll try a recipe from the Forever Dog book?
I might.
I challenge you to try a recipe this month.
I mean, I definitely will. I don't know if it'll be this weekend. Like, we're starting this new newswork class this weekend. I got a birthday coming up. Like, it's gonna be a busy couple weeks.
So you can start with the microbiome morsels. That only has 4 ingredients.
Yeah, I got to start small. I actually might do one of like the cleaning kind of things.
Those are cool. So anyway, I think it's a pretty book. I wish my book was pretty like this. I want to know who took the pictures. Like who made the food?
B.
Oh, you think so?
I think B. Adams did.
I mean, it probably does say in here somewhere. Gosh, she is so talented. Do you know that she's not a professional photographer? She just loves to.
Oh, wow.
It's just something that she enjoys doing. Well, that's not her background.
Then she's a professional.
I mean, and if this is what she did a phenomenal job. Now I want to know who, like, did they have a chef come in and do this? Or I'm sure I can find somewhere in the book where it says that. But it's just really kind of cool. Anyway, okay. It was wonderful talking to you.
Until next time, everybody.
Bye, guys.